No, I don't want to talk to you until you finally answer the question of how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. Got it? So scram. Hey, everybody. Welcome to day 13 of virtual learning. This is day 3 of the Success Unit project. Today we're going to move into the writing process section of revising and editing. If you're not done drafting, it's fine. So Tuesday, you pre-wrote, you gathered your thoughts together, figured out what you're talking about. Yesterday, you drafted them, you wrote out your essay, you wrote out what you wanted to say. If you're not done with that, keep working on it, keep drafting. And then today, we're moving into revising and editing. Now, here's the big thing about revising and editing. A lot of people hear revising and editing, and they think that it is simply peer review, or not peer review, peer editing. It's not editing. It's not proofreading. It's proofreading is like putting painting a wall a different color, telling where you need to put a period here, you need to put a comma there, you misspelled this word. That's proofreading. That's proof editing. That's peer editing. I don't want that. I want you to actually review it. I want you to give actual legitimate feedback. This is going to be more similar to adding a room onto a house than painting a wall. So look at foundational things that the essay needs to work with. So this is an optional assignment. It will be due on Monday. Optional, of course, meaning you don't have to do it. If you do it, you get the points for it. If not, you don't get the points for it, but it won't hurt you. It's an optional assignment. That's the joys of optional assignments. So you do need to have a peer do it. So it can be one of your classmates. It could be a parent. It could be a guardian. It could be an older brother or sister, or it could be a cousin. It could be Hillbilly Bob down the road. Wouldn't recommend Hillbilly Bob, though, because, you know, he's kind of weird, and he might do other things. He might want some quid pro quo for other things. But so avoid him at all costs. But if you can't find anybody else to peer review your essay, I guess that's all you got to go with. Now, so yeah, it could be anybody. You just can't be yourself. You just need to have them read your essay twice and answer 4 questions about it. 3 of them are choice questions that they get to choose from. So the first reading is, after they read it the first time, they need to establish what the main idea is. In a sentence, summarize the author's main idea in the essay as you perceive it. If you don't have any idea what the main idea is, make sure to point that out. Then have them read it again one more time. And then after that time, during that time, they need to pay attention to one of these 3 things. They could look at the introduction. After you read the introduction, do you want to keep reading? Did the reader pull you into the topic? Why or why not? Is it clear or clearly implicit what the topic of the essay will be? If not, what makes it unclear? No, keep in mind that the introduction of the essay can be longer than a single paragraph. So the second reading, they could look at the introduction, or they could look at the organization of the essay. Does the author present ideas in an effective order? Do paragraph transitions smoothly from one to the next? Is each paragraph effectively limited to a specific idea or aspect of the topic? If the answer to any of these questions is no, explain what was problematic and why. If the essay is doing these things, make sure to discuss what was effective about them. So that's one of the options they could go with on the second reading. Or you could look at development. Development's probably the bigger one to look at. This is where you're kind of playing for rebuttals. You're looking for rebuttals. Does the essay give sufficient time to each idea to develop and discuss it fully? Were there any aspects of the discussion that were completely missing? What did you have any questions when you finished reading the draft that needed to be answered? So are there any places that you need to reinforce your rebuttal? And then overall, here's what we need to talk about overall. All right. Usually it's parents that come into the issue here. So no matter how good something is or how bad something is, there will always be a strong point and a weak point. There will even if it is a really, really strong essay and it might sound nitpicky, you can always find a weak point to it. And even if it is a horrible, horrible, horrible essay, you can still find the best horrible part of it. So every essay will have a strongest, every essay will have a weakest point. Most time, whenever parents peer review these, they'll say, weak part of the essay, it was not weak, it was all perfect, yay! You can find a weak spot. So you don't, that not everything's going to be perfect. Even if it sounds nitpicky, find the weak spot. So what was the strongest part of the essay? This is where you will describe what you think was the most well-done aspect of the essay, be it a certain discussion that was very thorough, be a very engaging tone, or anything else, and why you think it was the most effective thing the author did. What was the weakest part of the essay? Here you will do the exact opposite of the question above. What about the essay was the most problematic to your reading and the most need of revision? Why? What could the author do to improve these sections? All right, so if you choose to do peer review, all it is, you give somebody this and your essay or your project, have them interact with it or read it, and then they need to identify what the main idea is. One of the three talk about one of the three, either introduction, organization, or development, and then what is the strongest, what is the weakest. They just have to answer 4 questions, and you'll get points. If you don't do it, it's not going to hurt your grade. It's an optional grade, so it's not the end of the world if it isn't done. I do need to talk to y'all real quick about teddy bears and sharks. I know that sounds weird, but we're talking about peer editing, so you need to know about teddy bears and sharks. Teddy bear are soft and fluffy and won't hurt anybody, and they're not really going to give you good feedback. So if you're being peer reviewed by a teddy bear, they're not going to give you good feedback. They'll tell you the main idea. They'll say, oh, your introduction was great. Your organization was fine. Your development was good. The strongest part of the essay was all of it. The weakest part of the essay was none of it. You don't really get any feedback. You can't really improve your essay at that point, can you? So avoid teddy bears. Teddy bears don't really help you. They give you a sense of false confidence. On the other side of it, you don't want to be a shark. A shark is super critical, where they rip the thing to shreds. They strike when there's blood and there's nothing left. They devour the whole thing. So avoid people who would be super mean. Avoid people who would be super soft. If you're peer reviewing for somebody, don't be super mean. Don't be super soft. You need to find that happy middle ground. All right. And one last thing about revision and editing. There's this misconception out there that authors do not revise and edit their work, that they start writing and they write nonstop until it's done and they send it off and get published. That's a lie. Professional writers, either of books, of articles, of anything, they have it revised and they have it edited and revised and peer reviewed by their peers, by people that are by professionals that try to make it the best thing possible. So like these books right here that I have in my hand, these were peer edited. They were revised and edited. You look at any article that is from a news organization, it has been edited to make it the best thing that they could possibly put forward. And that's the thing about writing that makes it such a endearing and such a powerful thing that has lasted for centuries as a popular medium of communication. With speech, as you've noticed with this video, yeah, I could go back and edit it, but I have other things I need to do, and I have to publish 2 of these a day. So I can't go back and fix the little mistakes that I have here and there. I could, but it's not as effective. But with writing, it is expected that you are putting your best foot forward most of the time, because you can go back and you can fine-tune those certain areas to make it the best possible thing that you could possibly put out there. You could be your most perfect self in writing, and through revision and editing is how you get to that most perfect self. All right. So that's all we have for today. The optional assignment for peer review. On Tuesday, you were supposed to pre-write. On yesterday, you were supposed to draft. If you're not done drafting, keep drafting today. Today it would be revise and edit, and then tomorrow was publish, where you'd finally put the last polish on it and send it off. This assignment is due on Monday at 11:59. So that's whenever it is due. You have until then to submit it. That's all we're doing for the rest of this week. On Monday, we'll start dealing with personal narratives, and we'll talk about that. I'll see you tomorrow, just as one last reminder to, hey, get her done. But until then, I'll see y'all on the flip side. Peace out. A-Town down. Yeah.